परिपालय मामयि सन्ततम् सरसाक्ष परिपालय मामयि सन्ततं करुणया.
Welcome, Prince Rama Varma. I know you didn't want to be called like that. I would go by your instruction. Shri Varmaji, welcome to Dhruv, and we are very keenly awaiting your concert in under an hour at Purcell Room, London. Could you tell us your connection with Queen Elizabeth Hall, with the artistic director Jyotsna Srikanth and Dhruv, generally England?
I had the pleasure of touring Germany and England way back, I think in year 2000, almost 15 years ago, with Dr. Jyotsna. I met her for the first time in Bangalore when I had a concert where I sang only compositions of my Guruji, Dr. Balamurali Krishna. And some of them were in very unusual and strange ragas, which normally a person has to know beforehand even to attempt them. But we just met on stage and I apologized. I said, this is a thematic concert, which is why I'm singing these songs. She just managed so brilliantly. I was really impressed. And then I got a call for a tour here, and I called Dr. Jyotsna, and we enjoyed ourselves really nicely on stage, and we got along really nicely. And at that time, I never thought that one day she's going to come and settle in England and start Dhruv Arts, and I would get a return invitation. And it's really, what goes around comes around, and I'm really happy to be back here.
Interestingly, this was in Kuvempu Kalakshetra in Bangalore, and I was in the front row.
Oh.
And that's when my connection and passion to your style of singing came about.
Oh.
You were right. I mean, everything was a very awkward raga, and I use this awkward very carefully. It is not one of those pentatonic
Typical,
going up and coming down scales. So
really
I was both impressed with you and that stage dynamics. Moving on to some problem area within Dhruv Arts, if you may. We are propagating South Asian arts, and in that South Indian and Carnatic music. Dhruv is trying to center around this space, and we are on and off having this issue of continuity, continuous learning. You know, when we start teaching young people music, we want them to not really be professionals growing up. We want them to be still whatever, doctors, engineers. But like how it happens back home in India, we don't see that amount of uptake into adulthood of classical music. And I know you're big time into music education in India.
Yes.
You're doing yeoman service, and I particularly have subscribed to your style. So what are your tidbits, advices for us?
It's kind of not very different even in India, because students are so busy with so many other activities that suppose a child, male or female, studies Carnatic music, singing or veena or violin, but they spend 2 hours a day on Twitter and 1 hour on Facebook, and they watch their favorite TV serial, and they learn tennis or Bharatanatyam or all these things. Suppose exams are coming, the first thing which gets cut would be the classical music lessons. So, but they still have time for their TV serial, their favorite serial, and Facebook and Twitter and all that. This happens, and I have studied music under 4 gurus, and after my first and most important guru, Professor Vechur Harihara Subramanya, he passed away in 1994.
Sorry to you.
After that, I went searching for a good guru, and I went to several people for 1 day, 2 days, before I met Dr. Mangalampalli Balamurali Krishna sir, with whom I've been together with him for 17 years now. But I must say that out of the 7 or 8 gurus I tried, at least 4 or 5 were very good. While myself as a teacher, I have taught more than 4,000 to 5,000 students, and out of 4,000 or 5,000, I have 1 student. So I feel it's much more easy to get a good guru than a good student. So I have 1 student, her name is Amrita Venkatesh. She lives in Bangalore and gives concerts both in singing as well as veena, which is what I do also. So it's very nice to meet at both levels, and she pays attention to the Sahityam, whether it's Telugu, Kannada, Tamil, Sanskrit, and now latest being Malayalam and Hindi.
Very interesting.
So it's nice. The problem with classical music is many practicing musicians also don't pay much attention to the lyrics. And the most simple and obvious components of a song in any system of music, Western or Eastern, is music and lyrics.
Has to be the words.
And music
And the
equally.
music.
So music and lyrics, we always say music and lyrics, but lyrics, enough attention is sadly not paid in Carnatic music. And when we don't know what we are singing about, it's very hard to sustain the interest. Right?
In fact, you've naturally drawn me into my next question, which was not prepared. If I look at some of your online presence, you can't avoid today, on social media, YouTube and all that, you come as an exponent of Saraswati Veena. And if I pan across into other videos, you come up as a very Sahitya-oriented exponent of South Indian Carnatic vocal system of music. And thirdly, if I pan across slightly further, you come as a brilliant orator. And lastly, as a brilliant educator and tutor of music. Now, how would you actually go along in your own busy schedules? I know about your schedules, and we're all big fans of you here in Dhruv Arts. How do you really juggle between all this very heavy streams?
It's taking a toll on my health, I'm sure.
It doesn't show up.
What happens is that if I sing, people hear me. If I teach and that comes on YouTube, people hear me. If I play Veena, that comes on YouTube, people hear me. But singing plus Veena plus teaching plus talking all together comes to less than 5% of what I'm doing. But 95% of the time I'm just learning, and that never gets publicity. So,
very interesting.
Yeah,
you
so
say that.
I give one concert in a month. That one concert everybody will know. But what am I doing for the 29 or 30 days of the month? Just sitting alone in my room. There is no interview, no applause, no audience, nobody even to make one sound of balai sabash, nothing. It's just solitude and a very solitary pursuit, which people don't see. They just see the fun we have on stage and getting applause, and so that part is the most important. These are just the tiny fruits we get. Because of, and now I'm studying music for 30 years. So even after 30 years, I don't see myself as a guru at all. I see myself completely as a learner. I'm learning and learning. And when I learnt music for 2 years or 3 years, I used to feel, yeah, I know a lot. But after 15 years, I felt, no, I don't know a lot. Now I feel this whole life I may never know even 5% of what I would like to know.
About 1999, I met, you were a Guruji also,
Yes.
Dr. Balamurali Krishna, and asked him exactly the same question. Slightly rephrasing that question, I asked Dr. BMK J, how did Carnatic music evolve into such a complex system? Did Sri Saint Tyagaraja lay the guidelines for this? I mean, I'm sure he couldn't have sat writing grammars because he's known for devotion. Or is it the Trinity, or did it evolve? And he gave an answer saying that this whole system of music evolved from a bhajana sampradaya, which is more like a devotional, traditional style. Can you please help us understand why Carnatic music?
Because we have two aspects, the kalpitam, which is fixed compositions, that is where the devotion comes, and the kalpana, which is improvisation. So in improvisation, that is where we can show our creativity. So if we just do bhajana, that has its own value to have bhakti, devotion. If we just do pallavis and only kalpana, we can show off our virtuosity and complex rhythms and stuff like that. I try to find a balance between the two, where I keep the devotional songs devotional and not virtuoso pieces, and the creativity aspect spontaneous and joyful and upbeat.
Difficult to maintain that balance, and you have done that in a very elegant way.
I will keep trying.
If you allow me to come a bit closer into your personal lifestyle, how did the journey? I know you're a prince, you've got a real palace, and how did this journey from royalty to musicality? I don't mean in any way that you are actually moving from one to another, but this link and this appreciation of the music and the musicality, because royalty, especially from the state you come from, has nurtured art and has never delivered art. So how did this craving, should I say, or interest come?
It just happened really. Even when I was 12, 13 years old, I wanted to be a veterinary doctor and not a musician. The music was never, I used to draw pictures and write poetry and stuff in school, but I never sang. But my great grandmother, who's my mother's mother's mother, she was popularly known as Amma Maharani. she lived for music totally, and she had a very dominating personality also. So she kind of inflicted music down the throats of her children with very adverse results. She tried the same thing with her grandchildren, same result. So by the time I was 12, 13, she was already past 84. At that age, I would just sing around the house, and she felt that I was musical and said, "Oh, maybe this boy will learn music." And then normally a guru would audition prospective students by making them sing and see whether they have some basic inclination. But this was the reverse. She auditioned all the music gurus in my town, in Trivandrum, and selected Vechur Harira Subramania sir. Because he satisfied all aspects, the knowledge, the voice, the enunciation, the proportion. Some people might have a lot of knowledge, but balance might not be there. They'll overdo the rhythmic aspect or overdo the speed, or one aspect will be just grossly developed. But he had everything in the right proportion, and he was available, and he had the ability to teach and the inclination to teach and the patience, because the most difficult thing is to teach the basic lessons. So, when we get an advanced student, it's such a pleasure to teach them because they can just pick up everything. But the basic, the shruti is off, talam is off, either we go fast or we drag, all that he did.
And also to draw them into your paddhati, or as they say, gharana.
You know? And to inspire the spark. Suppose we already have a spark, the ideal guru should make it burn as a big flame, not crush it out. Many gurus, unfortunately, they stamp out the spark in a student. I've seen in some institutions also, students who join there with so much interest, and by the end of the first year course, they are all the music is gone.
You remind me of my engineering teacher who used to say, it's about soda bottle spirit. That must not be allowed to happen. You open the cap, it's fizzing until the space. After 2 seconds, it's back on earth in the reverse direction. I think that's a fair point. Just on that, your singing style, if you may, if you allow me, it's very mellowed, very calm, pleasant, and it's got a pace. I mean, that's what really strikes me. You're not hurried. You're not you don't want to be a Carnatic rock star. Some of my very famous musicians, whom I respect in full breadth and length, there is a tendency in the market, should I say, that they want to do those numbers that kills people with their speed. You don't seem to be influenced by the speed concept. On the contrary, if I have observed it right, your grace is your pace, and in the slowness of the pace, which is very extraordinary component, very unique to just Prince Rama Varma. How did you?
Well, I got attracted to music itself because of two people. One was the total zany, brilliant entertainer Kishore Kumar. I just adore him even now. The other one was Sri M.D. Ramanathan. In fact, he passed away on April 27th, 1984. So after 2 days, it's going to be 30 years since he left us. But I was just so obsessed with him. Even now, I continue to be obsessed with him. And he chose, though he could sing very fast also, he chose to sing slowly most of the time. And if we look at Carnatic vocal singing, the singing style is almost totally based either on Nadaswaram playing or Veena playing. There are two distinct banis. Of course, people like Balamurali Krishna said, they have blended the positive side of everything together. But generally speaking, and a vast majority of singers, they follow the Nadaswaram bani.
Especially the birkas, I'm
told. The birkas, exactly. While I completely follow the Veena bani. Just to show that I can sing fast, maybe I'll sing a Tilana or 1 or 2 songs really fast. But I get satisfaction much more singing slowly. Not like deliberately slowly, but at a non-tension generating pace.
Picking your first CD way back, I don't know, must be around 15 years old. I just thought you had a natural limitation to sing, deliver, speedy numbers. But of late, hearing to a lot of your YouTube clips, I've corrected my views on you. You can do both. So it is by design and choice that you actually tend to control the pace. That's very interesting to hear. And lastly, one of the intriguing things about what I saw on the Facebook just an hour ago was a lady mentioning that she's attending your concert and she's hell-bent upon, come what may, she has to be here simply because of your presence. She says she has seen no other Carnatic musician who can deliver strong music, undiluted, strong when I mean with all the mathematical, everything that you do on the stage, but still you don't go away from your smiling face. You have this that happy smiling face, which I haven't seen. I mean, again, that is one more uniqueness in you. You're very pleasant. Not that the phrases you're bringing about is any easier one. I mean, being a student of music myself, I know that that's absolutely top of the range type of sangati or nuance. But you keep your attraction. Is this coming from your princely background, or is it your own developments?
I don't like tension in any way, and we all have so many factors would bring tension to our life. So I see music as something to dissolve tension in me, in my accompanist, in my audience also. It's just for those 60 minutes or 3 hours or 4 hours, we all become one happy and intimately connected group. That's where we are happy anticipating the concert, we are happy during the concert, and we are happy later remembering the concert and anticipating the next concert.
Fantastic. At the end of the day, you're all cooking and serving the same dish and one dish. Fantastic. It's been a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
And thank you for all the brilliant insights and throwing light on a lot of topics.
శత్రులార్ గురి చింత చేరక ఇంద్రియాదుల వెంట పోక శత్రులార్ గురి చింత చేరక ఇంద్రియాదుల వెంట పోక మట్టు తెలిసి మేలుకోట పట్టణంబుల చేరి పుడు